Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. You have something to drink, grab yourself a cup of coffee. If you don't have a Stonemont mug to drink it out of, I'm sorry. Everything tastes better out of these. You can get your own. Come to our website, stonemont.us, if you would like. I want to talk about something kind of serious today. I know I'm kind of laughing, but I want to get something to serious because I'm going to be talking about something that is going to offend a lot of preppers, and it's not that I want to offend you. I don't. It's that I want you to start thinking a different way. Okay? I want you to start thinking in a way that's going to improve your preparedness and your life. Now, I've been at this a long time, and for those of you who are new to me, I've lived a preparedness lifestyle for 50 years. I'm 71 now, and probably more than 50 years. And if you count going back to Boy Scouts, I'll make it 60, right? But preparedness has always been a central part of my life. It's not something new. It's not something that I jumped onto in the last 10 years when it started to become popular, and everybody else started jumping on it. So I take it seriously. It's why I wrote all my books. Hang on half a second. To try to explain how to go about serious preparedness. So I got up this morning and I switched on the news. I was having my breakfast of eggs and cheese and avocado slices, and turned on the news. Just kind of want to see what's going on. Today's the big beautiful bill, and there's always funny stuff in the news too. If you want to start your day off with a laugh, just watch the news. I wanted to see alligator Alcatraz is opening, right? They they were sending an illegal alien cannibal back on an airplane, and he started eating himself on the plane. So they had to take him off the plane and return him to a not eating section of a holding cell somewhere in the States. Trying to eat himself, man. Did you? The kind of people that we have let into this country, right? The idiot up in the communist up in New York, any sorts of things going on, And so, but I turned on the news, and what I saw was it was consumed with Diddy. Stick with me now, guys. This is going to be a very important and perhaps offensive lesson to preppers. It was all about Diddy. Remember him when he started? He named himself Puff Daddy. Who names himself that? And then he was renamed by Snoop Dogg, who names himself that. P. Diddy. P. Diddy. It sounds like something you do in a bathroom, doesn't it? And then it got shortened, to be cool over the years as Diddy. Well, of course, all of the news was about his trial, and apparently he was found not guilty. He was acquitted on the majority of the counts. No surprise. I'll throw this in. RICO was improperly applied in this case. RICO came in 1970. I dealt with it a little bit when I worked organized crime back in the mid 70s, late 70s. I never did agree with it. I think it's unconstitutional. That's my opinion. I could give a good argument. I'd be happy to argue with Giuliani about the constitutionality of RICO. But anyway, that's off on another tangent. So they acquitted him of the RICO violations and some other. They acquitted him of they found him guilty of a couple more. I don't even remember what it was. That's not the point. But apparently the serious ones were. The point is how consumed the news was, how consumed apparently the entire world is over Diddy and his sex parties, and whether he was, found guilty, not guilty, whatever. And then after that, the story of the guy, what was his name, Koberger, the guy up in Idaho that killed those 4 college kids, or was it killed 3 and 1 lived? I don't remember. And now everybody's upset because he pled guilty, and now everybody is upset. I mean, upset to the gills about the fact that he's not going to have to explain how he did it, why he did it, or offer an apology. And I just think to myself, what has this crazy world come to? That is what's important. Well, we need to know why he did it. We need to know how he did it. We want an apology. He needs to face the family. Oh my gosh. What a soft world we've become. Here's what ought to happen is he should be tried and found guilty. It's too bad that he escaped the death penalty. For those of you who are for the death penalty, and I am in certain situations. And I'm not in others, okay? But that's what everybody, so he's guilty, so he's going to prison for the rest of his life, but everybody's upset about, he's not going to have to apologize. I mean, really? That's what consumes people. And then we've pretty much lost track of the guy that shot, also from Idaho. Hey, let this be a lesson. May I just interject this, guys? For those people who still think that there are still safe places in the world, there aren't. There aren't. This happened in a college town up there. We passed that college town on our trip a couple of weeks ago, okay? The other happened in Coeur d'Alene. We went through Coeur d'Alene. I know. Don't look at me funny. And all the other things that I got. Guys, there are no safe places in the world. That is why you have to be responsible for your own safety and security and preparedness. Okay? Well, what's my point with all this? How stupid and how silly this is. Let me take a drink out of my Stone Knot mug. I'm drinking a blackout espresso this morning. And it's going to be a great day. I'm going to work on the patio. I'm going to water the garden. I'm going to check my tomatoes and peppers and squash and broccoli and a whole lot of things. I'm going to sit down and spend several hours writing on the new book. What does all that have to do with this subject, Steve? Well, what it has to do with is I'm going to live a great day. Unlike many preppers out there who are living a day of worry and anxiety. Okay, here comes the point, right? Now, I'm sure that most of you just shook your heads about how ludicrous it was that so many people care about Diddy and Koberger's non-apology. Why does that consume so many people? Well, let me ask you this. How is that more silly than the number of preppers? And I don't know whether it's a majority of prepper, but it's a lot, right? All you have to do is turn on YouTube and see all the channels out there, just breathlessly telling you, the latest on World War III and this and that and the other thing. And read the comments, and you can see that people are just almost insane with their anxiety over these things. And in my mind, being all wound up in Diddy is no better than being all wound up in the latest scare of the day. Because if you've been paying attention, for any time at all in your life, and I've been paying attention for 50 years, you will realize what's going on now is nothing new. Nothing new. Tom Usher, he's the one that I ordained him as the poet laureate of our Patreon channel. And if you're not with us on Patreon, I invite you over there. You should be. you get so much more over on the Patreon channel, not just from me, but from our patrons. We have such smart people over there, and just there is so much there. Links down below. And he said, because I was talking about worry, anxiety the other day on something, and he said, if something, you can either work on something or worry about it. And if it's not worth the work, it ain't worth the worry. Now, I probably didn't get that exactly right, but I paraphrased it, and I got the meaning right. And he's exactly right. I might even put that on a mug, because people should be reminded of that on a daily basis. Well, most preppers, and here's why I should stick in. See, I differentiate between preppers and preparedness-minded people, PMPs as I call them, because the PMPs have made preparedness a way of life. They've made it such an intricate part of their life that they don't even notice it. It's natural, it's normal. And as a result of that, their lives are better now while they prepare for pretty much any eventuality in the future. And they're not worried. And they're not anxious. I say this many times. And again, I don't know. I don't know if amuses might be the right word. It amuses me. That's not really the word. It disgusts me, and that's not really somewhere between amusement and disgust. Okay. That so many of the people who are always wringing their hands and worrying and being fretful and afraid of this and afraid of that are also identify themselves so quickly as Christians. And so let me take an opportunity here to interject this that I say all the time on my videos, and that is, the Bible says, do not be afraid 365 times. One for every day. He must mean it. The Lord must mean it. Do not be afraid. And see, worry is an element of fear. The two are very, very closely intertwined. Worry is your fear of what may happen. God says, don't worry. Don't worry. So if you're worrying, if you're anxious, if you're fearful, I want you to ask yourself why. I want you to ask yourself that very seriously. And the answer is going to include probably a number of things, but I'll just name a couple. You're watching people who make you worried, whether that's channels or the news or whatever. You're watching people who have a vested interest in you being afraid. Now, if somebody has a vested interest in you having a negative experience in your life, ask yourself what that says about them and what it says about you. You have to decide whether to work for something, like Tom said, or worry about it. And if it ain't worth the work, it ain't worth the worry. If it is worth the worry, that means it's worth the work. So get up and do something about it. As soon as you start working on a problem, you stop worrying about it. Okay. And if you look at so many prepper channels, and I have no idea whether it's, I don't go on prepper groups on online. Years ago, I checked on a couple of them, and I go, oh, Jesus. No, not for me. And I've gone to a couple of prepper things, and I'll tell you, the people, I see this. I see this. Now, I know a lot of PMPs, preparedness-minded people, who are so prepared, you wouldn't believe it. And you also wouldn't believe where they live. I'm not even going to get into that now, because it'll just start another argument. No, I will. You know what? Because here's what I'm going to say. More of them, I would say more serious PMPs. Well, I'm not going to say more. I don't want to set this up as back and forth. Many live in the suburbs. Some even live in cities. Did you know that? I almost didn't say that because now we're setting up. Here comes the guy madly rushing over from across the room. He heard me say that, and now he's getting down on his keyboard and he's saying, "Why I'd never live in the city." See, what does that accomplish? This is a guy who, instead of actually putting an effort in his own life, is looking for the negative in something. The negative is what somebody else does, or the negative in what he's being told on a channel about what's happening. This is the end of the world. This is the beast system. Improper, I was going to say using the Bible, but it's not using the Bible. It's improperly using the Bible to promote a stance that is just going to scare the dickens out of folks, right? Traveling preachers been doing that, and televangelists have been doing that forever. Why? It puts more dollars in the plate and more followers in their little group or their big group. So if you've been considering this and asking yourself, when Steve just asked me if being all concerned with Diddy was any sillier than being all consumed with what Trump and Netanyahu are talking about, or whether Macron is a man, or the shifting poles of the earth, which I can't do anything about, or World War III, the 9 million and third time I've heard about the end of the world, the World War III, okay? Well, the honest answer is no, it's no sillier. It's a way that people consume themselves, fill their lives, fill their mind, fill their emotions with something that has no worth beyond entertainment. I won't say it's meaningless, but you should know a little bit about what's going on in the world, but you shouldn't be consumed with it. And so you're just getting that fix. Oh my gosh, gotta get up, see what's going on. I gotta get to YouTube, and I gotta get to the news and see what horrible thing I need to be afraid of today. You see an adult, and that's the kind of stuff that are uninformed and don't want to be informed, don't want to assume responsibility for actually preparing kind of person involves themselves in. It's an infantile personality. The grown-up assumes the responsibility for their own safety and security and providence. Providence meaning providing for themselves, right? For themselves and those who depend on them. They understand that these are responsibilities. And as such, they don't react to fear-driven messages. They respond to what they see reasonably as the challenges in an uncertain world. So my message is this. If you find yourself in that position, if you saw yourself in my description of the people who are always going bing, 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 between every new fear, every fear of the day, if you found yourself there, you need to escape it, because it's going to keep you from doing the things you need to in order to really be prepared and improve your life now. Simple as that. I've been drumming on this for a long time. I probably always will. Because, pretty much everything that I've done in my life, I have seen the uninformed drive the narrative. Whether it was in police work, those who have never done it. Let me say something here too about people who have never done it. Let me get it back. Who don't understand, those from the outside. And you know, there's a lot of people also. You might ask yourself this: who you're being led by? People who have never done something but try to act like they have. You know, people who talk authoritatively and want to act like they were in the military and special ops or something, right? And so they'll talk like in Alpha Bravo Charlie, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it shows an insecurity in the person, and it leads malleable people down the wrong path, right? So let me see if I can say something in that to make myself sound really, really tactical and like I know everything. So let's see. Alpha Sierra Sierra Hotel Alpha Tom Tom. Yes, I know Tom Tom isn't the real one. I threw it in there. Don't fall for these people who try to act like they're something that they aren't and never were. But ask yourself. Well, what I was saying was, I have seen this in everything in my life. In law enforcement, I would hear people who were never in law enforcement try to act like they were and try to, talk all about it. When I taught martial arts, I'd hear people talk all about martial arts, like they all knew all about it. Never knew a dang thing. Some would come into my club sometimes and try to act like all that, and were quickly shown that they weren't. When I was in physical training, when I ran gyms, I had more people come in and act like they knew what they were talking about. While the people who actually did know, you know what they were doing? They were overlifting. But we had other people up here talking, and most of what they were talking about was wrong. And it's the same here in preparedness. There are far more people talking than knowing. Get yourself out from underneath the influence of those who don't know, never were, never did, never gonna be, but just want you to worry. Because they worry. That's their life. And they want you to worry with them because, misery loves company. Guys, your life is going to be what you make it. It can either be miserable or it can be great. And God has given you this day. And He loves you, and He doesn't want you to be miserable. You know that verse that's one of my favorite? This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Not we will be fearful and be sad in it. So if you find yourself worrying, anxious, sad, fearful, get rid of the things that make you that way. Lift yourself up. Look to the good Lord to help you and guide you. Maybe take a few hints from this video. Get up out of that ditch and make something of your life. Because you've only got one. I don't know why you'd want to spend it being afraid. Okay? All right. Well, you all have a good day. I hope that many of you who needed it heard this, learned from it, and will do something with it. Many of the regulars here didn't need this message because they're PMPs anyway, but we always have a lot of new people coming by, and I love that, so that we can help them. And remember that we prepare well today. See that? We prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. You know what those, then it says Semper Paratus, always ready. You know what these things on the back mean? The Bible. Ask God to direct you. do what he says, the axes, how you build your life through your efforts, and the rifles, how we protect ourselves and provide for ourselves. You know what you don't see on there? Fear and worry. Okay. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.